What makes India incredible? Is it the places? Or the people? Or is there something more? I was curious to find answers, to find stories. With mystery of not knowing what is ahead, I began this journey. Join me as I travel across the length and breadth of this country in search of incredible India. Choosing where to begin was not easy, because India is such a vast country and there are just so many places to choose from that I felt lost. But in the end, I decided to head north. I've just arrived in Manali from Delhi. It was a 12 hours long bus ride, but I'm okay. It was a great ride, and you know what, when I come here I see this beautiful location, it's totally worth it. Now I'm looking for my next ride, vehicle number 5069. Here it is. लामा जी, हेलो, आंगदू जी, नमस्ते, मेरा नाम विनय भारद्वाज है. सॉरी, लेट नहीं हूँ मैं. चले, चलते. So this vehicle is going to take me to one of the remotest places of India, a place which is cut off from the rest of India for almost 5 months, a very remote village called Demul in Spiti Valley. Spiti lies in the northeastern part of Himachal Pradesh, a state in northern India. It is part of the Spiti district, largest in Himachal in terms of size, but third least populous district in India. There are two ways to get into Spiti. One is from the Kinnaur side and the other is from the Manali side. My route from Manali will take me up to the Rohtang Pass, down to Batul, then Kunzum Pass, Kaza and finally Demul. Right now the clouds are just passing by, it's just going through our car. This 230-kilometer journey takes around 10 to 12 hours and passes through some of the most spectacular scenes. Giant mountains, pointy peaks, cliffs, deep gorges, inspiring waterfalls and some of the roughest roads. This is Rohtang Pass, a very popular destination amongst tourists. At a moment's notice, weather here changes from bright and sunny to rainy and snowy. Air of Rohtang Pass is cold, it's chilling, it's magical. Rohtang Pass acts as a natural barrier, kind of a wall between Kulu and Spiti. While it forces the clouds to rain a lot in Kulu Valley, it makes it extremely difficult for the same clouds to come down on the other side, hence turning Spiti into a cold, dry desert. The moment you wind down from Rohtang Pass and enter Chandra Valley, which is a part of Spiti Valley, everything changes. The view, the terrain, the mountains, the colors, the air, the vegetation and the roads. The best way to travel to somewhere is to travel with a local, not just because they're going to give you information, but also because they're going to tell me about some interesting places like Chacha Chachi Dhaba. Let's go inside and find out about this dhaba. ये चाचा चाची, नमस्ते चाचा जी, नमस्ते चाची जी, नमस्ते. बहुत खुशी हुई आपसे मिलने. और मैंने सुना है कि आप यहाँ बहुत सारे लोगों का मदद करते हो, ट्रैकर्स का मदद कर यहाँ क्या क्या किया आपने?
106 लोग फंस गया था, इसमें मदद किया.
कहाँ फंस गए थे?
ऊपर बर्फ फंस गया था. और
बाप रे, हाँ, आप दोनों जाकर वहाँ मदद किया? क्या बात है. What may appear as a temporary shed is perhaps the only place in this entire route which guarantees you food and shelter for about 6 to 7 months in a year, because it is run by a brave couple, Dorje Bode and Hishi Chomo, popularly known as Chacha and Chachi. मुझे ना आप दोनों को एक जादू की जप्पी देनी है. बहुत खुशी हुई आपसे मिलकर. आप आइए. आप लोगों की वजह से इंडिया है, चाची जी. Can you imagine living here for about 6 to 7 months in a year with no phones or television? It's just you and this limitless stretch of nakedness, rawness, unmerciful mountains, and nail-biting winter. Isn't it amazing to see how some people truly believe in leading a simple life? What is it that motivates people like Chacha and Chachi? I don't know. But there has to be some bigger motivation than just trying to make a living out of this, right? But the incredibleness of Spiti doesn't end here. Our last stop before we touch base with the villages of Spiti, the final gateway into Spiti Valley, is called the Kunzum Pass.
It's been almost 13 hours on road for me, but I don't feel tired at all. In fact, I feel so energized looking at this terrain. Every corner has something very surprising.
What may seem like an abandoned and desolated place, almost inhospitable, is actually home to one of the oldest settlements in India. It is hard to say precisely when, but it is believed that many years ago, a small group of people migrated out of the present Tibet and made Spiti their home.
So now the Spiti Valley starts and we are heading to Kaza. There'll be a person called Padma waiting for me, hopefully. I'm going to meet him there and I'm going to stay at Kaza tonight.
But how did they do it? How did they survive? And more importantly, how do they live now? These are some of the questions which continue to puzzle me as my vehicle inches closer to Kaza.
आप सबके लिए बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद। मुझे यहाँ इस रात यहाँ रुकने के लिए आपने बुलाया मुझे। थैंक यू सो मच। बच्चे लोग भी इतना क्यूट हैं ना? पसंद है ये? पसंद है? पसंद है ये?
Nestled in the lap of nature and wrapped in the cocoon of silence, Spiti may look like a hostile place with nothing much to offer. But contained within the boundaries of these mountains are some of the precious gems of life.
What you see there, that is Demul.
From the very first moment you set your eyes on Demul, it holds your gaze and doesn't allow you to look away, as if it were an enchantress.
I'm walking on the streets of Demul. Beautiful houses. I'm looking for Angduji. I think this is the house that I have to come to. Angduji? Hello, Vinay. मैं अच्छा हूँ। बहुत सुंदर है। I've never been to a home, but I have to go down in the ladder.
Spiti is part of the Trans-Himalayan mountain range and hence it has features similar to Tibet. In fact, it lies on the westernmost edge of the Tibetan plateau. As per the legend, there are two versions of where the name Spiti came from. One, it simply means middle land. As it is sandwiched between Tibet and India, or Trans-Himalayan range and the Western Himalayas, it's the middle land. But there is another group of people who believe in a different version of the story. They feel that the Spiti is formed out of two words, Spi and Ti. Spi means general and Ti means water. So it simply means a place in general where there is water.
Julie! Wow! क्या कर रहे हो आप लोग? मटर छोड़ रहे हैं। मैं भी आपका मदद करता हूँ मटर काटने में। Mutton and barley are the two main crops of Demul. The highest source of income for them is through this. What I've read is it's one of the finest qualities of mutton.
Once the peas are plucked, they pack them in sacks and use the donkeys to transport them to the trucks.
Whoa! I can't even lift a little bit, man. बाप रे! ये देखो क्या किया गधे ने।
Before coming to Demul, I was under the impression that this is a barren land, and hence everything would be dry and dusty. Instead, what I see here is plenty of greenery and abundance of crops like peas and barley. How is it that Demul has so much of vegetation? And how are they managing to grow so much in a place which hardly receives any rainfall? The answer to that may be hidden in the name Spiti itself. But for that, I will have to find someone local who could help me understand this fully.
ये पानी कहाँ से आ रहा है?
पानी ऊपर से आ रहा है।
ऊपर से आ रहा है पानी? ऊपर से यहाँ पाइप से आ रहा है। ओ, यहाँ भर जाता है। क्या होता है?
खेत में जाएगा।
ये सब पानी खेत में जाएगा और सबके खेत में पानी आएगा।
In order to make the farming possible, the entire village has been divided into zones. and each zone has a set of fields and a pool of water reservoir. Every night, the snowmelt water from some remote spring travels through these pipes to the reservoirs, and the water is used for irrigation and for livelihood. But what stands out here is the community-based irrigation system. For example, if today she is irrigating the crops, tomorrow someone else will get a chance. And they take turn like this and do it. What's more surprising is that everybody understands and follows this arrangement and never fight over water, the only thing that they are running short of. Imagine the genius of the person who had discovered water in this desert for the first time and then found a way to somehow make the water travel, sometimes even for several kilometers, up to the reservoir. And not just that, he came up with a grand plan of community-based irrigation system. It is really amazing to see how people cooperate with each other and live together as a community. No one here tries to act selfishly or tries to do something for his own personal gain. They always think about the community as a whole and then act, not out of compulsion, but out of consideration.
You know, the best part about Demul is the smile on people's face. It's genuine, warm and makes your day. है ना? आपका मुस्कुराहट बहुत अच्छा है.
अच्छा नहीं है.
बहुत अच्छा है. फिर भी बहुत अच्छा है.
बहुत अच्छा नहीं है.
While one half continues to work in the field, the other half takes care of the next most important thing: animals. For people in Demul, everything is a celebration. Even a mundane looking activity like rushing the animals towards the common assembly point before taking them out for grazing turns into a merrymaking.
ये नवांग बाय है. You can see the cattle and sheep and goats all here, and there is a yak as well. The beauty of this village is all the cattle come here together in the morning, and हमारा नवांग बाय इसको लेकर जाएंगे. We'll take them to graze in the field entire day, and evening they all come back.
What may appear chaotic and an out-of-control situation has a rhythm to it, a familiar tune. Because the animals know their master, they patiently wait for a signal. And the moment Nawang whistles, everyone moves. Funny enough, they even know the route. All Nawang has to do is keep whistling. I start to follow the cattle as they make their way through the alley, pushing one another to get into the line. After all, one must be disciplined. Cows, goats, sheep, donkeys and a yak, they all walk together. Once again, I have been surprised by this feeling of community and togetherness that they share amongst themselves. Soon, they all disappear behind the hill, and with that, I come back to my house to meet the homestay owner.
जुले सर, जुले जी.
इतना सुंदर जगह है यहाँ पर, इतना ब्यूटीफुल व्यू है ना.
हाँ जी, हाँ जी.
आपके घर में क्या क्या है दिखाइए ना.
हाँ, बिल्कुल 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 दिखाएंगे जी. आइए, ये सर्दियों में हम जब ठंडा होते हैं तो इस पे आग जलाते हैं और गर्म रहते हैं.
यहाँ पूरा सब बैठ के खाते हो.
और यहाँ पूरा बैठ के हम सब खाना खाते हैं.
सब लोग मिलकर.
सब लोग मिलके. हाँ जी. ये है जी हमारा टॉयलेट.
The toilet is actually dry in Demul. There's no usage of water here. So what he just explained to me is that this is where actually people use the toilet, and that's the gobar that is used to cover once you're done. So it's organic and they use it in the fields after that. What a brilliant concept. ये क्या है?
यहाँ से हम सर्दियों के लिए नीचे जानवर रखते हैं जी. जानवर, पालतू जानवर. हाँ जी, आइए जी.
समर में
लोग बाहर रखते हैं जी,
और विंटर पे अंदर आ जाते हैं.
अंदर आ जाते हैं.
और ये सब ना बहुत अलग सा दिख रहा है. कैसा बनाया है
ये है जी सबसे निचला मंजिल जो पत्थर से बना हुआ है जी, अंदर से, और बाहर से मिट्टी से लिपाई किया हुआ है.
सिर्फ मिट्टी? हाँ
जी, सिर्फ मिट्टी का है जी, क्योंकि ये गर्म देता है ना जी मिट्टी का.
ऊपर से आया था ना, वहाँ पर बहुत सारे एम्प्टी जगह था. वो क्या है?
दिसंबर जनवरी में तो आप पूरा सफ़ेद ही सफ़ेद नजर आएगा जी. जहाँ भी जाओ तो कुछ जानवरों के लिए कुछ खाने के लिए नहीं होते हैं, तो हम फिर ये ग्रास जो है ना जी,
सब काम आते हैं.
ये सब काम आते हैं जी.
Every person I meet tells me something new about Demul. The more I discover it, the more astonished I am. Undoubtedly, life in Demul is driven by a different set of values. In the truest of the sense, they live in harmony, not just amongst themselves, but also with nature. As the sun starts to hide behind tall mountains and as shadows start to disappear, the village once again comes to life. And this time, the children take over the world. They come here around 5 o'clock, an hour before the scheduled arrival of the animals. And while they wait for Nawang to return, they play games like Kabaddi and Kho. To make the evening more eventful, they then dance and sing.
Another chance. I want to grow up once again.
A large cloud of dust suddenly covers the valley, followed by the babel of voices. It's a sign that the animals are on their way and that the children must take their position. As the cloud becomes denser, bars of the sheep and goats and the moos of the cow becomes deafening. But if you listen carefully, it sounds melodious as if these animals are playing the same familiar tune. One by one they start to catch the animals. To me, all the cows and goats and sheep look alike. But they somehow seem to know who their animals are. Never has it happened in the past that they have mistaken someone else's animal for their own. It may seem like a complex situation which probably would take hours to sort out. But within minutes, the animals disappear. And then the entire village goes silent again. Evenings are really long in Demul because everyone sits around the tandoor in their kitchen and share what happened during the day. This is the only time when they get to sit together and talk. Every morning, Demul wakes up to the songs of sparrows calling out from the sills of windows and rooftops. Slowly, all the houses start puffing out long columns of grey smoke which twirls and twists before disappearing into the arms of the cold, dry wind coming from the east. Standing tall at the highest point in the village is the monastery, or Gompa as the locals like to call it. It is like a guardian angel protecting the entire village. Gompa is generally a very quiet and reserved place, very calm and relaxing. It is a perfect place to organize your thoughts before starting the day. Now that the prayers have been offered, it is time for the people to get on with their daily routine. The daily routine varies from person to person. For some, it would mean walking up to the reservoir to water their plants. For some, it would mean milking their cows. And for some, it would mean cutting the grass. For me today, it means meeting the Devta of the village. In the social order of the village, Devta is an important figure. Though Devta literally means God, over here, he isn't actually a god, but a regular human being leading a normal life just like others. He too has a family, a house and children. But in addition to that, he looks after the welfare of the village as well. Because he has a divine ability to interact with God, for people, he is a medium between this world and the world that is hidden away from them. People of Demul have been practicing the concept of Devta for over past 500 years. They usually visit Devta to seek advice in matters concerning their health, crops and marriage. And since this works, people like having a living God around them. But the idea of God isn't just present in the form of Devta. In fact, it has found its way to one of the most important aspects of their economy, tourism. When it comes to hosting guests, we in India believe in the concept of Atithi Devo Bhava, meaning a guest is like a god. While the rest of India follows this religiously, people of Demul have taken it to a whole new level.
Oh, register है ये? क्या लिखूँ मैं?
अपना नाम और
Tourists generally visit Demul between June and August. And since there are no hotels here, they choose homestays. For just 600 rupees, they get a cozy room, a comfortable bed, a fluffy quilt, 2 meals, and not to forget, plenty of tea.
In Demul, there are roughly around 60 houses, and what he says is they divide amongst each other in terms of hosting guests. If this year 30-35 houses host people, the next year the next 35 houses will get a chance.
And all the money that is collected from the tourists remains with one person, which is Angdui in this case. And then, at the end of the year, it is divided equally amongst all the families who had hosted guests that year.
Just imagine the trust people have on him and trust people have on each other.
What is so different about these people? What makes them the way they are? Is it the harshness of the climate? Or the remoteness of the place? Or is there something more to it? Since ancient times, Spiti, like all other places in the world, was attacked and invaded time and again by rulers from Central Asia, Kashmir, Punjab and Tibet, who were constantly trying to prove their might like we are still doing today. And then came a time when this lust for power gave way to curiosity. For the first time, travelers and explorers started coming here and left behind numerous accounts of how vividly and characteristically different this place was from the rest of India. One of the most widely acclaimed books on Spiti came from Philip Henry Egerton, the then Deputy Commissioner of Kangra, who came here in 1863 to establish trade relations with Tibet. But having failed in his mission, he ended up publishing a photographic book on Spiti called The Journal of a Tour Through Spiti to the Frontier of Chinese Tibet.
But the work that I'm really interested in is possibly one of the earliest by J.G. Girard, a British explorer and a surgeon from Bengal native infantry.
He had published his observations in the Asiatic Research Journal in 1833.
He believed Spiti was a dry and almost inhospitable place. It is impossible to live here. And he goes on to say with a certain authority that the rivers are going to dry, making it a desert, and all the villages of Spiti will be extinct. In a way, he was suggesting that no one can live here and everything will disappear.
Today, after nearly 200 years, not only have they survived, but they have also grown and flourished, building a strong ecosystem and a unique support system around them, which is not crumbling anytime soon or going down anytime soon. My search for incredible India brought me here, to this small little village in one of the remotest corners of India. Honestly, what I have seen and experienced has totally fascinated my imaginations. I couldn't have known that it was possible to lead a simple life even in such harsh conditions where there is no water. I couldn't have known that it was possible to live in harmony with both nature and animals. And I couldn't have known about these people and their secret to a happy life. But now I must move on in my search for yet another place which truly makes India incredible.
Hello guys.
Hi.
So we have just finished the production of In Search of Incredible India. Episode 1.
Yes.
I am Pushpam. This is Vinay.
Vinay, Prasad here,
Shalini.
Ankush here.
Yeah.
This was amazing experience. The first episode is on Demul. We're going to be in front of you very, very soon.
Incredible India! Incredible India! Incredible!